you go.
It was the big one, it wasn't the big one in the shed, but it was the small one.
The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes Mayor and Council Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on October 26, 2022 in the Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, consistent with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the borough's municipal code and bylaws.
Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all have requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trend. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sek.
Here.
Council President Polidori. Here. Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman Dewan.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Mark Semeraro and our Borough Administrator Paula Cockerell.
Okay, thank you. Before we open the meeting, I just want to let the public know that on Friday, November 4th, I think it's November 4th, there will be a COVID and flu vaccine clinic across the street at the Carnival Center between 4 and 6. It's open to anybody from Pompton Lakes to get a flu shot, another booster shot, whatever you think you need. There's no cost involved. Please come down and just sign up if you're interested in doing that. Okay, could I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Second. Councilperson Polidori, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up. You know the drill.
Good evening, Katie Cole, 1456 Lincoln Ave. I'm here first, I should tell you, Mayor, the thing on the website says the clinic for the COVID is 3 to 5, not 4 to 6.
Oh, is that right? 3? I thought you told me 4
It's on the
6.
front of on the front page of the town website.
Okay, so maybe
It
there's
says 3 to 5, just so you know.
3 to 5, thank you.
But I'm actually here about something else. I'm embarrassed today to say that today I lost my temper with a mother, I'm assuming it was a mother, parking over at Lincoln School. Many of you who live on the south end of town or have lived on the south end of town know that parking for the last 40 years or more has been an issue when the school's going in and when the school's being dismissed. The police department has tried to be good, sending an officer down periodically. When the officer's there, everything's hunky-dory, and especially when Jason's around, everything's great. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. I've had 2 incidents so far where my grandson and I had a problem. I drop him off, I pick him up. At pickup one rainy day, I was trying to cross at the crosswalk. That's what I try to teach him, cross at the crosswalk at the top of the stairs. A car backs up as we're crossing the crosswalk. They're double parked and they back up. I hit it with my umbrella and the lady stopped, but then got mad at me because I hit their car. Today, a woman's parked, literally double parked, out in the middle of the crosswalk. There's an empty space. If she backed up, it would have been an illegal space, but it would have been better than parking in the middle of the crosswalk. So I said to my grandson, we're gonna have to go around, this woman's parked in the crosswalk. She puts down her window and she mocked me unbelievably. I lost my temper, not well, I'm not proud of it, but, and her thing to me was, go to the police department.
What
I
was
said,
her argument? What was she mad?
That she should be allowed to just park there.
In the crosswalk?
In the crosswalk, double parked, didn't matter. But it's happening so frequently now that I'm coming and asking, at first I thought, well, maybe if they put a crossing guard there, but to be honest, I don't think that would really work. I mean, there's some crossing guards that are really good and can, they direct traffic, not direct traffic, but they control things, But I don't think that's going to work down there. So my suggestion, for a long time, I've always felt the schools need a resource officer. I truly believe for the safety of our children, each school needs a resource officer in it. I know you know, we've had discussions before years ago when problems started with shootings in schools, and it didn't go anywhere. And that's okay, the Board of Ed wasn't comfortable with it at the time. But I'd like everybody to take a step back and consider this again, because that same school resource officer could be out there in the morning, be in the school during the school day, and be back out there in the afternoon, and it would like solve two problems, you know, with one officer. So I'm just planting the seed. I'm asking you to all please consider it. I'm going to go to the Board of Ed. I was trying to put this off until after election because I don't want to like muddy the waters or give anybody food. But today the lady just put me over the edge, and my Irish temper got up, and it was like, we're done, lady.
I haven't seen you go over the edge often, so that's
it really just was not the day to do that to me.
What I can add to that is there is discussion, and I can tell you there is discussion with the police department to think about doing that. They're going to see how things work, depending on if there's any money coming from feds to pay for some of this. But there is some discussion with the police department to think about how we're going to move forward on that. So it is a conversation that's happening already. The schools, of course, like you said, have to buy into the whole thing, which I think they will, by the way. The question would be, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think we'd be putting one in every school, obviously. It would have to be a floater. And we do have, so what I'm going to make, the first suggestion I'm going to make is we do have a police officer that floats around through the schools. Permanent position is in the schools right now. What I'm going to make a suggestion to the chief tomorrow is, can we put him down at Lincoln School for the next 2 weeks at least, permanently, and handle the traffic that's going on, educate the people that are coming in and out, doing things wrong. Parking at a crosswalk, no matter if it's in front of a school or in front of the building, is illegal.
Right.
So, you know, that part of it is separate from what they're doing. They should be ticketed for parking in the crosswalk. That's what should happen. But I think everybody up here, I don't think anybody up here is going to say we don't want to entertain the idea of that, considering the environment we have right now in the world. But again, that's as you know, it's a budget item, it's a police item, so we have to talk about that.
And I understand, from my understanding, I thought that the resource officer we have now goes between the high school and the middle
He does,
school.
he does.
I didn't think the elementary schools were included in that.
Well, no, there's no, you know, says it has to be this way. That's where most of them are. He spends most of his time in the high school and the middle school. But for this situation, we can reach out and say, hey, look, the next 2 weeks, let's put them down there and just stand outside and watch the parking, morning and afternoon. And again, educating people, you know, we all know that works sometimes and sometimes doesn't, but it's a start at least. It's something we can do right now. And then we'll still continue to have the conversations about with the police and the school moving forward. See where we go.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to go to the Board of Ed to ask them the same thing. I really feel, you know, they've made some strides with safety. I just don't feel it's enough yet for our children. So, you know, if we could move in that direction, that would be great, and I appreciate it.
Paula, can we did you note that one?
I did.
Okay, so we'll just ask them to go over to Lincoln School for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, some
You've got
backup
experience.
traffic.
Yeah, and I will tell you that the chief tries to send someone down there.
If he has a free, as you know, if he has a free man that's not running around, yes, he'll try.
Right.
Let's permanently put him down there every day so they see him there, no questions. He's there, and then see how that goes.
Right, and, you know, hopefully it'll help. So, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
And I'm gonna add to the chief too, and I'll speak to him too, is if someone's parked in a crosswalk at the school, I don't even want a warning, there should be a ticket at that point. If they're parked in a crosswalk at the school.
Right, and that happens more frequently than people
There
realize.
should be a ticket.
You know, I mean, it's, you know, I never noticed whether it's the same person or if it's, you know, other people. There's a woman who literally double parks, gets out of her car and stands at the top of the hill and yells her child's name until the child, you know, acknowledges it and comes up. So there's just so much down there that, you know, just needs to be addressed,
Okay.
so.
Let's see how-
Mike,
Yep.
you do have a crossing guard here. Down at Lincoln, you do not.
Right, but the
And
new
it
crossing
makes
guards,
a difference.
the new crossing guards are not allowed to direct traffic anymore.
Well, they're not directing traffic, but what they are doing is
They're
making sure,
crossing.
they're making sure that the crosswalks are clear.
Yeah.
At Lennox, they're making sure that the crosswalks are clear and that vehicles aren't going into the crosswalk, especially while students are. So they're not telling a car to turn left, turn right. They're telling a car to hold while students are crossing and things like that. So I think the crossing guard, from my experience at Lennox, the crossing guard actually in front of the school at the crosswalk actually really does make a big difference.
All right, so
They
that's
just
something-
allow parking in front of the school.
What's that?
They disallow parking in front of the.
Yes,
schools.
exactly. And I don't know how Lincoln works either.
Because they're in the back.
But Mr. McCarthy is out in the morning too, so you also have somebody from the school district
Right.
as that authority figure, so parents are less likely to act up. We're lucky because we've got St. Mary's parking lot to go into too.
Right.
They can drop off.
But for the people who don't understand, Lincoln School has the drop-off, two drop-offs really. It has the front and the back, you know, it has the.
Well, it only has
Really in the back. Really in the
one
back.
side on the back. The other side you can park on.
Right.
And if you can't, like I'm somebody, if I don't get there early enough, I have to park up on Paquonic and walk down. And that's okay, like, that's the rule, that's what you gotta do. But I kind of feel, Mayor, that I'm gonna promote for the resource officer, because there's so many other things that, you know, that go on in school districts and all. And, you know, just to even have that connection in the elementary level between the police department and, you know, the Board of Ed and things like that. I think it would go a long way to help with a lot of different things. So thank you very much for your
Okay.
consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Rich Greenberg, Washington Ave. Following up on comments that were discussed 2 weeks ago relative to trees in the river. The following day after the last meeting, I walked from Stiles Park down to my friend Dave's house, which is about close to half a mile, maybe a quarter mile past the Dawes Highway Bridge, southbound side. There definitely are trees underneath the Dawes Highway Bridge. There is a tree that is extending, these are on the Pompton side, extending just north of the fence at the top edge of Stiles Park. And as I'd mentioned, I believe there's still the trees near the sewage plant. I did speak with Al Evangelista a week or so ago during a CERT exercise, and he said that he would the following day because he can get access to the property that I cannot. He said that he would go down and verify that that tree or those trees are still there. But definitely the Ramapo has not been addressed.
Well, I can tell you that we've gotten new pictures that the administrator has of trees that have been pulled out. There's quite a few. It's a lot of trees. Now, they might have missed some, or they might be new trees, I don't know. We'll send somebody down to look at them, but when was he in the river just recently?
He was just in, but the trees you speak of may
Mhm.
not be able to be removed under permit by rule. So remember, we can only remove trees that fall under the permit by rule. I don't know the position of these trees, but you know, if they were not removed, I'm going to assume that was because they couldn't be.
Can you
as a
explain?
result of permit.
Yeah,
So
what does permit by rule means, please?
We cannot go into the waterway.
Mhm.
We cannot access from Top River Bank. You need to access from either a roadway or accessing through the Aquanic Leaf. I don't know.
Well, or simply put,
Whatever.
if the bridge, the one I'm looking at, that's,
Established place,
yeah.
you cannot affect vegetation in the riparian zone, which
Okay.
is measured top bay to 50 feet in.
okay, so the one that I'm talking about, for instance, north of Stiles,
Okay.
where the root of the tree is still on the bank, and the tree is extending into the river 10, 20, 30 feet, whatever the length of the tree is, that can't be accessed?
Not if it disrupts the riparian zone, no.
And they're very
That
strict
does not fall
with
under
it.
permit by rule.
Okay, again, I don't know the rule as well as whoever
You
might.
can't just go in and just ride along the riverbanks. You know, you can't disturb, you need a permit, you need access points. The DEP has to approve these access points.
And how long will it take for that to happen? Because I can tell you, that tree has been there for several years. The one that's just north of Stiles, absolutely been there for a couple of years.
I'm not familiar with the riverways, but, you know, I will talk to our river to snagger contractor
Mhm.
north of Stiles.
There's one immediately north of Stiles, just essentially at the north end of the fence line. As I mentioned, there's one that's in the river that is directly below the south side
What
of
is
the,
Stiles, a park or?
it's a park, yeah, Stiles. Okay, just below, underneath the south side rather of the Dawes Highway Bridge. And the other trees that I mentioned are at or near the property that's controlled by the sewage treatment plant.
All right, I'm gonna, you know what, I will talk to our DPW superintendent tomorrow, and we will assess where it's located. I just want to confirm that position with our engineer.
Mhm.
We don't want to violate any DEP regulations, so
Okay.
I will certainly follow up on that.
Okay.
I appreciate you bringing that.
And how long will it be before permits can be attained to get those trees out?
It's a long
Oh,
process.
we looked for we're looking for a permit modification,
Mhm.
and, I will speak to our engineer about where we are there right now.
Okay, well, as someone who lives in an area that has been flooded, I was blessed with 6.5 feet of water in my basement during Hurricane Irene in 2011, I think?
Yes.
So I don't want to see that again, and as we just saw, 2 years ago, we had water at the end of my street, Washington Avenue, which is 3 blocks from the Ramapo River,
Right.
on both the Haroldson Place side and the Dawes Highway side. So we're still getting some significant flooding activity. Obviously, want to do whatever can be done to resolve that for those of us who are homeowners and just for the safety in the community, because God only knows what's in that water. And, I have a garden in my backyard, so whatever floated up from the river that may have contained God knows what kind of chemicals, when I make my tomato sauce tomorrow, it's in there. And I've already got chronic lymphocytic leukemia, lymphoma, and thyroid cancer. Can it be attributed to the environment? I can't say absolutely, but, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I can look at Washington Avenue in particular. When my thyroid cancer first came up in 2010, I did just a head count of the people I knew from my block, just from Dawes Highway to Haroldson Place. And I came up with 17 people who had had cancer, several of whom died from it. Can I attribute it to Pompton Lake specific? Can I name what the cause is? No. In fact, I was at one of the town meetings a few years ago, and an attorney approached me and said, "Hey, we're doing suits in other towns. I'd like you to participate." And my response to that gentleman was, "I'd love to, but," and the but was, how do you know from whence the chemicals and specifics? I'm not sure what can and
So
was being done.
And I'm sorry about your cancer, by the way.
So am I, because it came back again this
No,
past
I'm-
year,
it's
and
horrible to hear.
I'm currently still addressing thyroid cancer for the second time, and that's after having it completely removed in 2011.
So
It
going
came
back to your initial concerns, though, unfortunately, the DEP doesn't look at it as simply as you do or we do here, just going to remove the tree. If we go in there and do that, and it's happened to us before, we get fined. It's a big fine.
Mhm.
And there's certain permits that you have to use to work in the rivers.
Understood.
If you don't get those permits, you'll be in big trouble, and they don't make getting those permits easy. It's one of the things I've been fighting for a long time, to simplify the process. They haven't done that yet, so
Okay, well,
it's just what it is.
Simply put, it's my butt that's on the line,
No, I get you.
and it's already got a bad crack in it, and I don't have to tell you, I'm worried about it.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Ave. Also, Mayor, you could mention that residents of Pumpkin Lake can go down to Wayne to get their COVID shots and flu shots. I was there today and got my COVID shot. And,
Only on Wednesdays.
excuse me?
Only on Wednesdays.
Only on Wednesdays, yes. And I think the times are the same, 3 to 5. But while I was there, Town of Wayne had quite a few things out, and they had on the spotted lanternfly. And I took a few, and I walked over here to see if we had anything, and we didn't have anything out. So I was wondering if I can give this to Paula or Liz, and they can make some copies and just leave them out for the residents,
Sure. Just give me a
just for
list.
information.
We'll put them out on the board.
That's my shade tree little report. All right, just give them the list?
Yeah.
More work from Liz. We love her.
If you stole enough copies from Wayne, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
I did steal quite a few. I'm gonna try to get some more.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Please step up.
Good evening. Sorry, Trish Curley, 729 Colfax. Not sure if anyone has been I've been not sleeping for 4 days now. I have a lot of problems with kids, so there's been some weird things going on for quite some time. I know that A lot of the town knows about it. I do not know enough, but I do know that there's been situations that are occurring that are getting dangerous, more and more dangerous. Just sitting out in front of my home tonight, I have watched 20 to 30 cars flying by, probably at 40 to 50 miles an hour, where I'm literally sitting there telling them, and of course, as soon as I tell them to slow down, they do. If I step out on the road, they instantly stop and wait for me. But the facts are, there's been quite a few situations that have occurred throughout the last year and a half, and while I'm sure everyone has more information than I do, and I know that part, I'm trying to make the situation as easy and clear as it is. Now, my kids are currently under a foster care order, but actually they're under protection at my cousin's house. We've kept them where they are. I don't know if anyone has known how far things have gone. The situation occurring is getting dangerous. We've had people running through the yard. We have had weird things happening in the house. Gas is released. My kid's not waking up. This has been going on and off for about, a year. The game, as some of the kids call it, a lot of things have been confusing. My situation is that I seem to be in the middle of it, and I am trying to get my family safe as quickly as possible without causing any more problems for anybody. But since this started, I have found that multiple documents that have been coming from the clerk's office here are actually fraudulent. I can
So
verify.
hold on one sec, hold on.
Yes.
So when you're dealing with police matters, okay, they don't come from the clerk's office. They come-
No, this is not police matters. These are birth certificates,
Oh.
marriage certificates. I'm talking clerk's office.
Okay.
Didn't realize it as things have been going on, and I had them out a couple months ago, and they were my originals. I had them scanned, and now they are different copies, actually have different names, to the point that one of them literally has a different name on my marriage certificate. As a witness, is not the same. I know who witnessed my wedding. It is not the same person, two different people. Somebody somehow changed them out, and these certificates are not legal because these stamps are not on them, and they are not Pompton Lake
And you
stamps.
got them in Pompton Lake?
Absolutely,
And
Mr.
how-
Sean.
And how long ago was this?
That's the problem. I did not get new copies, but I have an original copy that is scanned in my computer, and I have the copy that is in my hands right now. And they are two different copies, both from the year. Nothing has changed. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this as quickly and easily as possible. All I'd like the town to do is work with me to move forward. I want this ended, whatever it is, whoever it is,
Okay, so, I don't want to.
Go ahead.
But what are you looking for? What are you asking?
whatever's going on, this town has been involved with it, or at least
Well, but what are you saying that we're involved in? What?
I have no idea. I know that there has been situations going on in my house for a year now, including police matters that should never have occurred, but I'm not bringing in that in. I have documents that came from this building myself. They are not the original documents. They've been switched out in my own home. I have people have come to me. I do not want to get into anything specific, but I
So
will.
you got about, 5 minutes.
Yes.
So what I'm gonna try to do is help you as best I can, okay?
Like I said, I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in
Not a
days because of
problem.
this.
So, as I said before, any police matters would be with the police
That's why
department.
that's not being brought up
With
here.
us up here. But anything that you're saying is switched, I would ask you to bring that documentation.
Absolutely. I will actually get it over tonight. I meant to grab it today. I just didn't get it out.
I would bring both pieces in.
Absolutely.
And speak to Liz, can she talk to you about it?
I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, they'll both be, you can talk to the administrator, or you can talk to Liz.
what, Mayor, I was just gonna interject. If you could just give me your name and number,
Absolutely.
and then I could contact you.
Yeah, I also have a couple of things I can bring to you. Mail. All of my mail now has not gone through the post office.
First and foremost,
Absolutely.
because just to give the public
Patricia?
opportunity, yes,
PATRICIA.
okay.
Maybe have the telephone number off the public. Don't have a read or telephone number publicly.
Oh, okay. Here, you know what, can you write down your number for me, please?
So what I'm gonna ask you to do is bring the documentation to the town hall at your convenience, and we'll take a look at it and see what we can do with that, okay?
And like I said, mail has not been coming. I have.
Mail has nothing to do with us, we're not
Oh,
mailing.
hold on. Basically, the point is, I am going to be meeting with more attorneys this week because all the situations are getting more and more extreme. Well, I know the people who are
Okay.
involved, a lot of ways,
Past your 5 minutes, so unfortunately I gotta let you go.
absolutely, then I will see if this does not get remedy soon enough, then we'll have to move on to legal.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a good night, okay? Be
Any-
safe.
Anyone else from the public would like to
All
address?
right.
Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman Devine,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes, motion to approve the following minutes, regular meeting minutes, October 12th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Devine,
Second.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve the following bill list as stated below. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Devine. Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone need anything removed from the consent agenda? Okay, Liz, whenever you're ready.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Plumpton Lakes has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Plumpton Lakes does not desire to remove resolutions from individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 22-232 through Resolution 22-235.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions?
So moved.
Council President Polidori, Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? First readings?
Ordinance 22-19, an ordinance amending supplemental Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 730, speed limits of the municipal code of the Borough of Plumpton Lakes to add a speed limit sign for the Pond Hole parking lot.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve ordinance 22-19 for introduction?
So moved.
So moved.
Councilman Begg, Councilman, who was that, Devine?
Yep.
Devine? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Delogne.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Under my report, before I get to my report, I'm gonna jump in. I know a couple of the council, and we had said we would talk about the parking in the Pond Hole for the students, and I had told you that Councilman Cruz was talking with the schools and coming up with some ideas. He has some ideas he'd like to present, and we'll discuss it a little bit. If we like the idea, then we'll move forward with it. So go ahead, Bobby, whenever you wanna.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. So as everyone is aware, with the recent increase in the senior student parking permit, had a good majority of parents were not too happy with the increase, and they voiced their concerns about that. So collectively, I think all of us had some ideas, and just trying to figure out what would be a good number for them, that offers some flexible options as well. So what I would like for council and the mayor to consider, to reduce the amount from $225 to $160 for the calendar school year, which is 10 months. In addition, add a new payment option, of $40 per marking period. And I think with that, that would be a good option for kids who maybe start driving later on in the year, for those that maybe only want 3 months at a time. And I think going forward, I think it'll restore some of the faith the community has that we're always, the kids first. So I think this is a good option, and I'm hoping that the mayor and council will consider that moving forward.
All right, I'm gonna let everybody have a say on it. I just wanna add a couple things. So we're gonna revisit this yearly, because this could change a little bit. And there is some discussion with the school boards on some future things. So we're gonna revisit this yearly on the cost. I just wanna reach the attorney. This would just be a resolution change, on the price changing, because we did it by resolution.
Yes.
Okay. And then, the other part of this is, just so everybody's aware, right now, there's only been, I spoke to Sharon today, only 11 spots been sold up to date. It's been 11 spots. Anybody have anything to say, or anything you want to say about it?
So of the 11 spots that were sold, did they get refunded? How is that?
Yes. We're gonna have to deal with that, we'll have to work with Sharon. If they've already paid, then maybe they skip a quarter that they don't pay, or we'll get them even to the 160 if that's what everybody wants. I mean, I don't care either way, but, if that's what everybody wants.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns?
No, I just want to thank Bobby for doing the work.
Thank you.
Get,
Good job, Bobby.
Thank you,
What the difference is, I could start to work on it, or?
I think
Yeah, so, so Bobby, send the emails you sent me to him.
Yeah.
And it'll write down what
Okay.
the options were and things like that.
Fair
And
enough.
then we'll just put it into a resolution.
Sure, it was done in resolution originally, so
Yes.
resolution, no answer.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Mayor. Were the fees established for the pond hole in an ordinance?
they were.
I gotta look, they might have been in order.
Oh,
we did the pond
Well,
hole.
the parking was, but the fees might be, you're right, in an
I
ordinance.
think I remember seeing the fees.
Yeah.
It just came to me.
Okay, all right. So that should be an ordinance change as well.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit then. And I hate to say this, but there's gonna be a lot, this is gonna take some time, this is not gonna happen, next week. Do we wanna start it like January 1st, so we're all caught up, or do we wanna try to figure out what we owe everybody from before? It's just gonna get a little complicated.
Can we just postpone?
We could do it retroactively if you wanted to. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm asking, like, what do you guys wanna?
Well, we're at November right now, right? So we're about a week off next
can have
week for
one in
November.
Month and a half.
So.
But there's only one meeting.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say, there's one meeting in November,
So it
one meeting
wouldn't
in
be
December.
passed until December.
Okay.
So how do you
December, I
guys feel, you wanna start in January, you wanna try to figure out what we owe people back?
I'd rather just figure out what we owe people
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Let's make it retroactive to the school year, the 2022, 2023
January is half the school year, I mean, half
Yeah.
the people have paid,
So I don't
there's
make
only
it
11
retroactive
parking
at that
spots
point.
sold, so.
Yeah, it's not that many, it's fine.
Yep.
All right,
Okay
we'll
with
put
that.
that in there too, I guess. Okay. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, under my report. We're gonna talk, the administrator and I met at a historic house that came up for sale. We took a tour of the house. It's a beautiful house. They want to sell the house, unfortunately, as quickly as they can. The owner had passed away. We'll have some discussion internally about what we want to do, but it was, if you've never seen the house over on Broadway, it is an impressive house. One side of it's 1600s, middle side is 1700, and the other side is in later dates, but very impressive inside. So it was a nice tour. It was very nice talking to them, but I understand they want to sell the house. That is part of what they're trying to do. I attended the St. Mary's Golf outing Monday, first time they've had it, trying to raise some funds for the church, so it was nice to do that. I attended the planning board meeting that I'm sure Eric, Councilman DeWine will talk about. There was a lot of discussion about the car wash there. I attended the fifth grade, they invited me to speak to the whole fifth grade, and they all asked questions, and I had a great time talking with them. And the most important part of it, which is what you start to see through Pompton Lakes, is these kids at an early age understand what volunteerism is and how our town works through volunteerism. And those kids who stay in the town already understand the concept of what we're doing by doing that. So kudos to everybody in both the elementary schools and on doing that education part. They had questions that high school kids probably didn't know how to answer. Governmental questions, people who help, what group, what this, and, they're great questions. So that's all good stuff when we're dealing with our kids. And then the next day, I was lucky enough to be invited to take part in the special needs play that they put on. Look, when I thought to myself, this would be a 20-minute thing, not a big deal, this was a very impressive production they put on. They had backdrops, steps that looked like they were from Broadway. The play was 2 hours. They all had lines, they sang, they danced. They had comedian part come out, part of it. All the special needs kids, they did a great job. It was a really impressive play, and I really enjoyed taking part in it. We also had a redevelopment meeting that night. There was a conceptual plan presented. There was a lot of issues with it. I'm sure Councilman Begg will talk about that. I also attended the bid meeting. A lot of discussion about garbage cans that we've been doing for the last long time, talking about garbage cans. We had 2 grand openings at the bakery and at the bagel shop downtown. Nice to see those people come out and support these. And I'll tell you, we have these grand openings and we get it on social media and it's nice, but I went into the bakery a week later and she said they were busier than they normally are in the week. She thinks it was because of the information that was put on social media. That's good to see, that people are watching what we're doing and saying, hey, let's go try that place. So that's what we want to do with all our businesses in town. Everyone should at least give it a try. If you like it, you keep going back, but at least give it a try. As we all know, downtown businesses are having a heck of a time staying afloat right now, so we should support our downtown businesses as best we can. I had a meeting with the developers and the administrator and the redevelopment agency. There is some work going on right now in the project over here, the Meridian project. They will start. They should be receiving their permits, at least for foundation and footings, in the next week. So we should see some real work going on there. I was told they hired a new front person. He says they're going to work throughout the winter. There's be no stopping. So once they start, the project will start moving, and hopefully we can get this to the end of the project. It's been a long haul, long development time, but it's nice to see a shovel on the ground, nice to see things move along. And that is my report. Council President Paul Doherty.
Thank you. I attended the Windsor School beefsteak, and it was a very nice evening just to bring back what I spoke at the last council meeting. Rotary and Women's Club, along with manager of Columbia Bank, is working with Windsor School now to help them build a teaching garden on a property that separates the Elks property from the back of the Windsor School. The purpose of this will be to have an ongoing interactive project where the children can learn about gardening and actually see projects that they work on come to life. A mix of perennials and annuals so that there will be continuous work. I had mentioned in my last report that there was going to be some availability or opportunity for the public to help. They did get back to us Tuesday and Friday mornings. They're outside working on the garden, so if anyone is interested in stopping by and either donating plants or tools that they're not using anymore, mulch, anything like that, they are graciously accepting donations as well as advice and guidance or some hands-on help. So I'm looking forward to seeing that project completed. I attended a finance meeting this afternoon to discuss possible usage for some of the ARP funds as discussed in our last meeting. I also attended the bid meeting, discussions about possibly moving forward with the Flags for Hero program. We are in the process of getting some quotes for that now, and also some upcoming events. So working on some good things with the bid as well. Let's see, I did participate in a interview at our WGHT today with Councilwoman Kent. We were given the opportunity to speak approximately 15 minutes each on women in government and our roles in our local community, some of the things that we've done for family programs, parks, recreation, and the environment. So it was actually it was pretty amazing. It was actually a really good time. And interestingly, my first house was on the south side, so when we would trick or treat, we would go to the radio station and they would give out the small little records instead of candy. So I guess that was in the late 80s. Going back in there today, it looks exactly the same. It's like it got frozen in time. The little records are still on the wall and they actually have an 8-track player on the counter. So it was pretty nostalgic and really fun to have the opportunity. So we look forward to hearing that. Tomorrow night, along with 3 other local women business owners, I will be sponsoring and serving the free community dinner at Pompton Reformed Church, which starts at 5:30. We also attended the open space meeting. Really, basically, the discussion this month was just about continued progress and future projects on parks that have not been worked on yet. But we also did complete phase 2 of the art installment, the sculpture at Lakeside Park. So if you remember me talking about it, phase 1 was to actually install the sculpture. Phase 2 was to include some of the children in the Lakeside school system. It was some of the children from the special needs program, as well as some of the children in the gifted and talented art program. The children, along with the art teachers, were responsible for designing the concept of how the sculpture would be painted. And then they came down and painted it. So it is a fall theme. It's beautiful leaves with a lot of colors on it. They did a very nice job on the cardinals. And then the DPW went down and applied a sealant. So it is, for the most part, done. In the spring, we will seed around the area and hopefully with the help of Councilman Venon, put some of the daffodils around the base of it. But it does look beautiful. So I encourage you to go down and look, and we're never going to run out of space for the daffodils. So we hope to see that be, something that we can continue to incorporate into future parks. It's nice to have community involvement as we create these spaces for our families. If you remember when we did Pacifico Gallo, we ran a program through the school where they were given the opportunity to name one of the pieces of playground equipment, and we had all of the families come out and celebrate it. So as well with this sculpture, we plan on in the spring working with the schools to get the parents and the families of the children that participated in the painting to come out and do a little celebration. It really integrates the families with these parks, which is exactly who they're designed for. So to have them participate in creating things like this is wonderful, and hopefully we will be able to put future sculptures in at the next few parks. Also through open space, I just wanted to ask our administrator a question. You and I spoke briefly. I can't remember where we left off, but I know when we were here last time, Lloyd Kent had discussed giving money through the closing of the PAL into 3 parks. And I'm just not sure, we're hoping to at least get a resolution done before the end of the year. So I'm just not sure what the next step should be. I know we said we could have the playground people come out and look at the hoops and the backboards for the nets, and the benches for Hirschfield, they've already taken care of, but I believe, and Councilwoman Kent might remember, I don't know if it was Pacifico Gallo or Styles, they are resurfacing the court. Maria, do you
Yeah, I
remember?
think they wanted to do Styles because it's wavy from the water.
All right, so that was the only thing I wasn't sure of the next step on. Who do we ask to come out and give a price? And I will confirm if it's Pacifico Gallo or Styles, I don't remember. But
Are they making the donation to the borough and the borough's gonna purchase
Yes.
this?
So
Okay.
one of the things we were supposed to meet, right, Maria?
Yes,
with
yeah, we're
Lloyd?
So
We were gonna meet.
so, you know, maybe I need to get more specifics on that, and then I can put together,
Okay,
you know, we can take the donation to our recreation trust.
correct me if
And
I'm wrong, but I think Lloyd was under the impression that he couldn't gift the money until he had the estimates from the work. Which is why I asked if we could have someone look at is that what he needed, Maria? We needed
Yes.
to get the estimates of the work so that they can give
Is
the
that
money to
true?
the borough.
That's true.
I mean, he could donate whatever money they would like to, and specifically earmark that toward whatever line item we create within the recreation trust.
It was very similar to the school. I think the school got an estimate and then provided, I think from Lloyd, wanted to give the exact amount to cover the full
Oh, is
cost.
that it?
Yeah.
To cover the full cost.
Want to give.
All right, we're
The
gonna have to
balance
get
of
it.
what we use for
Yes.
these three projects, there
Okay,
will be
well,
money
I'm
left over,
sorry,
it's
I
being
don't- I
gifted
don't
to
read-
another organization too,
Yes.
so.
Okay, I didn't realize you wanted me to go get prices.
Well,
I didn't formally ask, I wasn't sure of the process, that's why I'm asking you.
Oh, okay, if
Yeah.
that's what you'd like to do.
I think that's
then
what needs to be-
I can certainly do that through our co-op.
But I think we need to do it, so initially I had gotten an email from, I think Councilwoman Kent,
Right.
that we were gonna take a walk, see where he wanted the benches, see
Right.
what he wanted to do on the basketball courts, tell us what he wanted, and then that has to be presented to you.
That has, right.
Okay,
what
and
they
then
exactly
I will
want.
take care of it.
And then we have to get the estimates that the
Right.
Council President's talking
Is
about.
he giving the balance to the school? Is that?
Well, he's sharing.
Another
Yeah.
organization,
Another
some of it
organization.
went to the school, some of
Oh,
it's
so
coming
you
to
want to know
us,
how
and
much
some's
it
going
was
to
for us,
PLRY.
and then
Right.
I am-
It's already
Okay.
gone to the
So I think we
school.
said we could have MRC or some other playground outfit look at the actual sports equipment, the hoops and the basketball.
Right.
They already have the benches, they already have the prices, he already
Yeah.
selected the
Mhm.
benches.
Yeah.
It's just
He did,
Mhm.
okay.
the court, we don't know how to
To resurface
resurface.
the court. Okay, I don't.
So whoever would come out and
I'll
look at
into
that, I don't
mean,
know.
there's some,
I would say you're gonna look at the resurfacing, the lining.
Well, let's talk about, we're not talking about, we're talking just a pavement.
Right.
yeah, just like,
Just pavement.
I think it's a
It's
small.
just asphalt.
like
Yeah, it's one
cleaning
more-
up the
yeah.
cracks and stuff.
But New pavement,
Right.
it's like putting a driveway in, they're gonna tear it up,
Yeah,
put a new
yeah.
driveway in,
Level it
and then put the line.
And put the lines down.
Right, that's all they're
The
gonna
lines and like a top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
do. Top coat.
For the basketball.
She's gonna find out which part.
It's Styles.
Are you sure?
It's definitely styles for the court, and
Yeah.
then
So the
Pacifico
hoops
Gallo
are,
was
the hoops are Pacific, yeah.
Okay.
As I recall, the original fund was about $29,000.
All right, so once we get all that information together, we'll get that all
Yeah.
to you, and meanwhile, you can
Okay.
reach out to somebody for the.
Yeah, I'll
paving.
look for, I'll talk to Dan. I mean, I'm sure he knows.
And I only ask now because I think time was of the essence as far as wanting to solidify business for the 2022.
Yeah, they want to close out, yeah, they want
Yeah,
to close out the
close
account
the year, yeah.
before the end of the year,
I
right?
think that's-
Right.
Okay. All right, let me know what I'll get pricing on, I don't know the size of the court, and
It's not big.
that's definitely it. So we'll just get that, and he knows the benches,
Mhm.
and what was the other item? Oops.
What did you say?
New
The
hoops.
courts.
Backboards, hoops,
Backboard is
poles.
styles, that is a two hoop court. Pacifico Gallo is a single.
I think yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
Because
It's
it'll
two-
go in the water.
I think styles is two. So,
Two.
styles is two, Pacifico Gallo is one hoop. So he just wants to replace the whole hoop, the backboard, like a whole new unit on that, which the playground company can come out and look at if,
Right.
I think we have someone local.
Okay. I will do.
But in any way, that was very nice.
Yeah.
That was a very nice gesture after years of serving the community. That money was dispersed across the school also, three different organizations, so it was, we're very grateful for that. And that is my report.
Thank you. Yeah, the artwork looks beautiful down there. There are a lot of nice people, nice compliments on the way it looks through the lake, so it does look very nice down there. I forgot to mention my report, I'm sure Bobby would bring it up, the holiday hunt, the Halloween hunt that was scheduled for last Sunday, is going to be scheduled for this Sunday at 7 PM at Hirschfield Park. I know the dates went back and forth, but there's a lot going on, and trying not to confuse it with other dates. They did have a rain date, but it wasn't good on Monday, so that's why they're going to have it on Sunday. Pass the word around, same event, just a week later. Okay, Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, I stopped by Starbucks to hang out with the police officers for coffee with a cop. I thanked them for their service, and some of the guys have been on a long time. They know that it's a lot more difficult today than it used to be years ago, like when I was a special early in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I thank them. It was well attended. A lot of folks stopped by, say hello. Service officers stopped by as well. Autumn Fest at Pompton Reform was very well attended. Helped to set up and break down, and people came throughout the day, bought crafts and whatnot, and I think the vendors did very well. The Girl Scout Fall Festival was this past weekend. Again, another very well attended event. A lot of folks came out. I saw Councilman DeLine there. He has a couple Girl Scouts. Both your girls are still Scouts, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, and I have two as well, and I am a co-leader with my older daughter's troop. On Sunday, there was Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk over at MetLife. UPS sends a bunch of folks to help set up. It was very well. There's so many people that went there. A couple years ago, I saw some Pompton folks. This year, I saw one of the moms that my daughter's friends with. So it was nice to be part of that as well. And lastly, my daughter Katie, along with a bunch of other students from Pompton Lakes High School, was inducted to the Zonta Club. Speaking of community service, Mayor, there were, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 kids newly inducted to the, and that doesn't count the folks that are already in the club. So I gave the advisor my contact info and said we'd be in touch, and that there's always volunteer opportunities, especially on the trails, river cleanup and whatnot. They've always been involved in that as well. And that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you, and that's congratulations on your daughter. I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I attended an Eagle Scout ceremony Sunday to Matthew Soto. He received his Eagle Scout, and we all know that's very difficult. The crazy thing about this is he has 3 brothers. They all received their Eagle Scouts also, so there's 4 Eagle Scouts in the one family.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. He can make his own little tribe of Eagle Scouts. That's very, very impressive. So congratulations to Matthew. Councilman Day.
Thank you. I attended the Pompton Lakes Borough MUA meeting on October 17th. With the leaving of John Legley, the MUA is developing a revised work structure responsible plan. John Legley received an email from the DEP. The email outlined several deficiencies in the original media application that need to be addressed. An email from Alan Workman, environmental specialist, to John Legley and Mr. Doty advised them the MUA wastewater treatment facilities master residual S3G general permit has been renewed. John Legley spoke of a power outage on October 8th at 11:45 a.m. Wells 1 and 3 are out of service until 5:15 p.m. Well 2 continued to run by generators supplying the borough. I attended the Pompton Lakes Community Partnership bid meeting on October 20th. Mayor Sierra spoke about the progress of our development program, Meridia, 525 Wanacue Ave, and the CJM building. The shredding program will take place on November 5th, 2022 at the Pompton Lakes High School parking lot. The holiday stroll will take place December 3rd 2022 in the downtown from 4:30 PM to 8 PM. I attended the Pompton Lakes Redevelopment Agency meeting on October 20th. On the agenda was a conceptual presentation for 431 Montclair Ave, a proposed 48-unit apartment building. Also on the agenda was discussion from Collier Engineering, a review of the DRA1 redevelopment area and Appadaglia Property Company, LLC, Meridian, LLC. That's the report.
Thank you. So just to update a little bit on the conceptual, the gentleman who came in presented the conceptual plan for Montclair. There was a lot of concerns with the project, a lot of unanswered questions, so nothing was done, and they told him he has to go back, hire some professionals, and come back in front of the board and present again, because what he had presented wasn't fulfilling enough to make it move over yet. So
Hopefully they'll come back with a solid plan.
So hopefully they'll come back with a different plan. So it was a conceptual, we're gonna ask for another conceptual. This would be the third time he's presented, if he comes again, would be the third time he presented a conceptual. Okay, Councilman Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few reminders on a couple of items. We have the Teen Dance update, Teen Dance, November 21st at the VFW, 7 PM to 8:30. The next one is going to be December 19th, Ugly Sweater. That should be interesting. At the VFW, 7 PM to 8:30 as well. As the mayor mentioned, we have the Halloween Hunt Sunday, October 30th at 7 PM at Hirschfield Park. Pumpkins to be delivered October 22nd. They'll be providing cupcakes, water, and apple juice. Setup time is at 5:30, so if anybody has time to volunteer, it's great down there. The kids are awesome. Breakfast with Santa, Saturday, December 10th. First seating is at 8:30, second at 10:30 a.m. Let's see, pickleball group meeting at Hirschfield on Monday nights, 5:30 to 7:30 at Hirschfield Park, September 5th to October 24th. Just out of curiosity, has anybody played pickleball, people? Anybody here?
I have.
It's growing.
It's huge.
It's very big.
There's leagues.
I need to try it. I need to get down there.
I was very bad at it.
I'm pretty sure I'll be that as well, so. Upcoming events, we have a teen volleyball, new program. I do not have many details on that, but I'm pretty sure once Karen has them all, she'll send them over. PL Bid Shredded Truck, November 5th, 9:30 to 12:30, Pompton Lakes High School lot. PL Bid Buck Sale, November 19th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. as supplies last. Holiday Stroll, December 3rd, 4:30 to 8 p.m. Toys for Tot Train, December 10th, time to be determined. Pompton Lakes Police Toy Drive for Pompton Lakes families. Letters to Santa, November 25th to December 16th. And we have the Recreation Holiday Dinner at Monica's. They're still gathering information for that, but that will be a lot of fun. That'll do it for my report. The Board of Ed is meeting tonight, so I was unable to attend.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I have a motion?
Yeah, you have a motion there, yeah?
No, I read the motion earlier and I completely forgot.
To yourself?
Thank you, Councilman Deline. All right, motion to approve the request of the Pompton Lakes Chamber of Commerce to close Montague Avenue between Pompton and Lakeside Avenue between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Saturday, December 3rd, 2022 for the annual holiday stroll. Also to use Pompton Avenue, Ramapo Avenue, Lakeside Avenue as a detour route. Passaic County Board of Commissioners, Hunter and Mark Agency, Police and Fire Departments have been notified. I'll make the first motion. Can I get a second?
Have a second? Council President Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against, and just a note on the holiday stroll, they still are looking for vendors, so if you're interested in selling some wares, contact either Councilman Cruz or Karen Murphy at the Rec Department, and we'll get you in on the list. Councilman Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Monday, I attended the Library Board of Trustees to let everyone know the Storytime program is still continuing. It's going through November 18th. The major talking point among the Library Board of Trustees, they've restarted discussions of potentially setting up a book drop on the exterior of the building. This is an opportunity for residents to check out a book, but if they can't make it during the open hours, they would be able to pick up a book through a code, and then be able to return books that way as well. So kind of like Amazon drop boxes are being installed in a number of locations, this would be specific to the library. So we'll see what happens with that. As the mayor mentioned last Tuesday, the planning board met. The topic of discussion was the Soaring Car Wash, which applied for amended site plan approval based on the changes to the site that occurred during construction. There were a number of additional changes that were made based on feedback from the board and the neighboring dentist's office. So all in all, overall, the project had some improvements even beyond what they came into proposing. And then this application was unanimously approved. As mentioned, this past Saturday, I attended the grand reopenings of the Pompton Lakes Bakery and the Pompton Lakes Bagel Shop. It's been a while since I've been at the bagel shop. However, I am pleased to note that they do have jalapeno bagels, which have been difficult for me to find. So if you like spicy food, definitely check them out. I'll be going a number of times as a result. This past Sunday, I was at the Girl Scout Fall Festival, as Councilman Bennett noted. Both of my Girl Scouts both my daughters are Girl Scouts. So it was another great event. It's great to see the kids and how even some of the community come out and sort of check everything out in the crafts and everything like that. Before this meeting, the Finance Committee met to discuss potential capital projects for 2023. To follow up on a topic raised by Mr. Hinton last meeting, I do work for the Borough of Glen Ridge as the deputy administrator. I did speak to our arborist there regarding what the borough may or may not be doing regarding the spider and lanternfly. Unfortunately, we're in the same boat as seemingly every other community, and that is not much. Actually, interestingly enough, following that discussion, we did get an inquiry from a resident in Glen Ridge reporting that they had spider lanternflies on the tree. His response to that resident was basically like, continue to monitor it, kill whatever spider lanternflies you can, and if there are any egg masses within reach, we'll try to take care of them. So sort of, status quo as far as that goes. Just something I want to point out this weekend, Stageworks, which was used to be Rhino Theater 237 on Hamburg Turnpike, will be showing The Lion King Jr. from Thursday to Sunday. My daughter Serena is playing Shenzi, the hyena, and if you've seen Lion King, that was the character who is voice acted by Whoopi Goldberg. Really excited to see her. Unfortunately, for everyone who wants to jump in late, tickets are all sold out. But however, there are plenty of great shows upcoming, so I encourage people to patron the theater, especially that one that did move to a nonprofit. So the more, they're doing a lot of great work for children, for people honing their skills, things like that, and it is a nonprofit company at this point. And finally, we won't meet until after, but I just want to remind people that Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, and I wish the best of luck to all the candidates running for office this year. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. I was also on the library board meeting, and just a reminder to everybody, on November 1st, Tuesday, November 1st, at 3 p.m., they'll be doing a dedication of the benches in front of the library and a little ceremony for a 110-year ceremony on how old the library is. It's open to the public. Anybody's more than welcome to come if they'd like to. It's November 1st at 3 p.m. Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to mention, I don't think you mentioned it, Mayor, Mrs. Allen is receiving an award tomorrow at Lakeside School for her years of dedication to the athletic, for all her athletics and her coaching for, I don't know how many years, 30, 35 years? How many?
39.
39 years, yeah. She's an amazing lady, an amazing coach, and we're definitely going to miss her out on that hockey field, that's for sure. But good luck to her. I wish her best of luck. The superintendent's report for DPW, the recycling center will be closed on November 8th, that's Election Day, and the 11th, I believe that's Veterans Day, due to the fall holidays. On November 10th, garbage collection is for the north end of town, and there will be no leaf brush collection on the week of November 7th. The recycling containers, and thank you, Paula, for doing this, but we have new recycling containers down to Carlo Field, and we're going to be commingling recycling only, so I want to thank you for that effort. And our last county hazardous waste collection day will be December 3rd. That will be at the Passaic County Community College in Wanacue at 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., rain or shine. So if you have any things that toxic or, paints, I don't believe they'll take latex, that's the time to take them. I also attended the Girl Scout Autumn Fall Festival, and that is a really nice festival, and we're very grateful to have all the Girl Scouts there. I also attended the ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce and the bid representatives for the Pompton Lakes Bakery, which absolutely smelled amazing, like sweet, delicious, amazing. Reminded me when I was a kid and we went to bakery after church, and it was a wonderful memory lane thing. So try the bakery; it's fabulous. And of course the Pompton Lakes bagels, and they also had some kind of chips, Old Bay chips that everybody was going crazy over. So all kind of new stuff. So try them out. I also chaperoned the recreation dance for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They had the best costume prizes. The kids had a great time. And our recreation commissioners are absolutely amazing with the way they treat the kids. And, everyone had a wonderful time. And I want to thank Karen Murphy and the Rec Commission Bobby, for all they do. I attended the Environmental Protection Committee monthly meeting this year. We're going to have the EPC had approved by Dr. Amorosa a litter contest video. It's a litter video contest, and it's only going to sophomores and juniors in the high school. And we're going to ask that the kids submit a 2 to 3 minute, no longer, video on how to keep our streets clean and how to not litter the downtown. And the bid is also donating $100 to the winner of that video. So we will be selecting that, and we're working along with the Board of Ed because they have to approve anything that we do, and they've been very gracious, and they've approved everything very quickly. They were very happy. They think it's a great project. That award will be given on November 6th at the library, on the steps of the library. On the same day, November 6th, that's a Sunday, we were going to have a townwide cleanup, not townwide, I'm sorry, the street cleanup for Wanacue Avenue for litter. And that will be, again, anybody's invited. It's kind of a scaled down version of our river cleanup, much scaled down. It's just going to be the street, and then after that, then we're going to award the prize. We have I also attended the WGHT interview along with Council President Polidori. That was a lot of fun, and it was really nice to kind of see how the younger groups that grew up in town. The gentleman is named Ryan the Goose Gossard. He's the gentleman that interviewed us. He thanked us for all the good work that we did. Katie, you take credit for that. All the good work that we did in keeping the trails and keeping the open space and keeping the parks and new equipment. So he was very good with that, and that'll be on, I guess, next week, Jen? I think so. Yeah, so that'll be fun to hear. I just have one request. That art sculpture is gorgeous. It's fabulous, but there's a sign behind it.
It's being moved.
It's going to be removed? Okay.
Yeah, Dan and Chief Clark are working on moving it up toward the top of the boat, top of the street.
Okay, good, because that's the only thing that kind of bugged me.
Right in the middle
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like,
picture.
there's a sign there that says, do not do something. And
There's also going to be a red insert
do not take pictures right
in the top and bottom where the words are. We didn't realize until after it was done that if you're standing far back on it, it's actually hard to see what it says because it's on both sides.
Yeah.
So there'll be an insert the same color as the cardinal on the top and bottom so that the lettering stands out too.
Perfect.
So not 100% done yet.
Okay, all right, but we addressed it. That's good.
Yes, we did.
Okay, and that's my report now.
Thank you. Just some dates to keep in mind. I think Councilwoman Kent mentioned it. Tuesday, November 8th, the borough is closed for Election Day. Wednesday, November 9th, the borough is closed. We'll have our Veterans Day ceremony.
That's our meeting.
And it's also our meeting. We'll have a ceremony here at 6:30 out on the steps. Hopefully, if it's warm enough. Did we get?
I do have, I'm I'm not sure, I can't remember.
That's okay.
Lennox or the,
All right, so it'll either, if it's raining or weather, we have another building, we'll let everybody know about that. And Friday, November 11th, the borough is closed. Lastly, I'd just like to wish the girls' field hockey team congratulations on winning the county or sectionals, I'm not sure.
County.
County? Yeah, county, that's a nice job, a nice thing to see. We're always big on our sports here, and we're always winning something, so nice to see. Professional reports, any reports?
Other than the fact that, our treasurer did identify certain issues with respect to some of the audit reports on the pilot payments, and it was a good catch on his behalf, and we worked with the redevelopers to have the reports corrected, and that's all in progress. So we received corrected reports, and I think that we've successfully corrected a situation before things were inappropriately.
So the one project we're talking about, that both sides are happy with that?
Yes.
Okay, good, that's great. Okay, good, anything else?
No,
Okay.
everything's just fine.
Administrator's report.
Okay, I just want to announce that the borough has officially received its award letter for, through the open space grant in the amount of $150,000 for Phase 1 at Hirschfield Park. So Phase 1 includes new bathrooms and storage. So very happy to announce that. Also, the town held its annual tax sale. Although it's not a happy thing, it means that people are having a difficult time paying their taxes. However, we all have to make the borough whole. So fortunately, only 9 properties were in the tax sale, and the tax sale totaled in $61,266. And in premiums, the borough received $416,000. So just so you know what a premium is, when they bid on the interest, it goes down to 0. The highest premium gets the tax lien. And if in fact the premium is, if the tax sale certificate is not redeemed, or the property is foreclosed within the 5-year period, then the borough keeps the premium. But until then, I mean, people are banking on the fact that they're going to redeem the tax lien, but in the event, we still get the interest because we keep the premium on our books. I also just want to say that I met with the Finance Committee tonight, and we discussed capital projects going into 2023. And what is good about that is a lot of the projects, everybody up here has worked very hard in safeguarding your tax dollars. So much of these projects are going to be funded by other sources other than your tax dollars. Your open space tax dollars that you are taxed with will be used to fund some of it. We're going to use some of the American Relief money we received and grants. So we're going to be putting together a capital package, and when all that is done, that will be seen in, next year. So I just want to let you know we're working hard to improving our roadways, our parks, our facilities, our services to you. And then I just, at the end of the meeting there, I'd like to go into closed session regarding contract negotiations.
Okay, any questions for the administrator?
I just want to thank Paula for taking care of the pothole by the storm drain. Paul, I guess, in the DPW.
Oh, they did? Okay, yeah,
I drove by.
yes, you're welcome. Yes, thank you to DPW, yes.
And Phase 1 for Hirschfield Park, what phase is the path going to be in?
So we talked about phasing the improvements in 3 phases as a result of the county replacing the bridge there.
Okay.
So Phase 1 will be the bathrooms and storage, Phase 2 will be the playground, and then Phase 3 will be replacing the pervious path.
Can we have a temporary, something temporary, because those holes...
That's right, you had said that, forgive me, Councilman, and you did tell me that at the last meeting, that there's, by the little library there.
Right, or
there's
branches
some
off to the left
area
towards the
that
bridge.
is-
Even if there's a temporary thing we can do, it's...
Okay, we could certainly do that. And, I am done.
Any other questions for the administrator?
Anything else?
I just want, I happened to go to the recycling center today, but 2 residents brought it up to my attention. I think we need some more gravel over at the recycling center. There's some big potholes there, and, we should try to flatten them out as best we can. I know there's a lot of traffic there, but, I can make a call, or we'll make a call to Tilcon and see if they'll donate some stone for us. and we should drop some more stone over the recycling center. Any other question?
Just a quick question on what you just mentioned, Mayor. Down by Willow, in the gravel parking space, is,
Yeah, okay.
down by Willow, the gravel, same thing is happening. They're very deep, and there's probably about 10. I know my bumper scratched on one of them, it got so low. But since you're bringing it up on one location,
Let's throw it on the list.
maybe we can get that ready.
They fill up like little lakes. when
Oh,
they-
it's, yeah, I wasn't happy, my bumper got scratched.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comment.
So moved.
Councilman Devine, Council President Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Just a quick reminder, we have a COVID vaccination clinic across the street at the Carnival Center. I believe it starts at 3 p.m. on November 4th. If anybody wants to come in, that would be good for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Please step up.
Katie Cole, 1456 Lincoln Ave again. As you go through the budget process, if you would keep in mind the money that's put aside to keep the rivers clean, that if we could maintain that, it was like at 100,000, and I think it was cut back this year. If we could, maintain it, because it really is obviously important, every year, and there's not much we can do to stop the trees from going in or stop some of this. But when we go in and clean it out, it really does help. It's been, 11 years and we're still going strong. So if we could keep that in mind, please. Thank
As
you.
you know, for everybody up here, that's a priority for us, so we definitely will continue that. Anyone else from the public like to address? Was that a yes? Come on. That was a sideward yes.
Excuse me?
That was a sideward yes.
We have to keep you on your toes, Mr. Mayor. Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. I just want to express my frustration.
Okay.
I've been here a few times and talking about meetings, redevelopment, planning board meetings that were canceled, notification, very short notification sometimes. Sometimes there's a little white piece of paper hanging on the door, and that's it. But I attended the September redevelopment meeting, concerned about the project at 430 Montclair Ave. You're talking about 48 units he's proposing. Figure 2 cars per unit. That's 96 cars on Montclair Ave. Montclair Ave, I've asked years ago, Mayor Cole was there also, get speed bumps there. Police have been there occasionally, but people fly down there. There's only 2 ways out of that development. That's Willard and Broad Street. Broad Street's heavily trucked. Willard has a stoplight. People fly down Ackerman, fly down Montclair Ave. Now you want to add another 100 cars to that area is a ridiculous thing. So that project at 430, I'm totally against it, and my neighbors are against it. So I went to the meeting, the redevelopment meeting in September, like you said I should, and I asked about the project, and like our attorney said, a lot of times, if there's not on the docket there, they don't have any information on it. But knowing the entire redevelopment, they let me know that the project is not in that area of 430 Montclair is not in the redevelopment area. Now, you just had a meeting the other day, on the 20th, I was on vacation, I couldn't make that meeting, and now what changed about the redevelopment? Now, is it in the redevelopment area?
No, so what has to happen is they have to request to do a need assessment study, which this council would vote yes or no on from our planner. But that has to be sent to the planning board first, they have to then send it to us, and then we send it yes or no. They didn't get enough information that they were happy with at that meeting, so they are not going to send it forward yet. And a lot of the things you brought up, and believe me, it's not gonna be 48 units, you can't fit 48 units, so that's part of the
That's
problem.
what he's proposing.
It's what a lot of people propose a lot of things.
Okay.
The cars you talked about, we don't do 2 cars per unit, no unit does that. But we'll work with that, but these are all points that were brought up by the board. But it's in a need assessment study to see if he fits the criteria to be in the redevelopment zone. That in itself caused some problems, So that's why he has to hire some professionals, to understand what he wants to do, and then present it. So right now, it's still a nothing project at this moment.
Okay, so help me with my frustration. How do I proceed as a resident opposed to the project?
You could come.
Do I have to attend every redevelopment meeting
No.
or every planning board meeting?
No, you just have to show up to one of the meetings and voice your concern. It doesn't matter what, it could be conceptual, it could be in planning stage, it doesn't matter when. It's before it's voted on, by the boards, and then we do the final say, this board does the final say on the vote. But it still has to go through redevelopment, planning, a needs study. That's gonna take a long time. This is not happening in 6 months or a year. This is gonna take some time.
Okay. But I just want to express my frustration. And a lot of times when I have questions, I want to bring up that meetings are canceled or you can't bring that up because it's not on the agenda that evening. And,
Well, like we said before, meetings are only canceled if there's no agenda. If there was an agenda, so that's why they had the meeting. If there's no agenda, they will cancel the meeting, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please step up.
Judy Braderick, 21 Albert Street. And tonight's first about that I heard about the Montclair Avenue thing. I just want to bring up the blasting at the quarry or whatever you call it. Our house shakes every day. I don't know, that's even closer than, you know, the quarry I get. I don't know if you call it, I don't know what you call it.
Yes,
but
quarry, yeah.
Oh, whatever. So I'm concerned about building something there and how much noise and frustration those people that are going to live there would encounter, and how safe is, you know, like my husband, I hadn't seen it, but my husband said we have cracks in our foundation. And, you know, just my concern about building over there with the quarry being so close.
So the quarry's in Riverdale, as you know. We have no jurisdiction over the quarry, but the project that's being built is in Pompton. There's a lot of space between what's going to be built and what's there now, if anything gets built at all. But I would suggest the same thing I suggested to another person, would be if you have concerns, you should go to a redevelopment meeting at one point or another, or a planning board meeting and voice your concern. It goes on the record, it's in the, you know,
And I'll
public
get
record.
more information from my husband, what we're actually hearing and where it's from.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
And by the way, I mean, just today, there was I got 2 calls from people about that loud explosion, you know, occasionally, and I did call Tilcon, occasionally when the atmosphere is right and the clouds are the right way and the wind is blowing in the right direction, the explosion seems louder than it should be in Pompton Lakes, which was the case yesterday. There was a very loud explosion. Those people on Stiles Court in that area were concerned about it. So I did follow up, and he said it was within the realms of normal and everything was fine. And you can, just as for all residents, you can go onto the Tilcon site and they list every explosion, detonation that's on there and where it falls within the levels that are protected. And they tell me everything is fine, so it was allowed. I heard it myself, so it was allowed.
And that's all state regulated.
That's all state regulated, yes. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session? Council President Polidori, Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor? Any privilege of the floor?
I'd like to bring up a privilege of the floor, because honestly, I'm just as confused about 430 Montclair Avenue as maybe Mr. Hinton is. We received a certified letter on September 12th from the, I guess the applicant's attorney, for lack of a better word, although there's no application, asking that the 430 Montclair Avenue be considered as an area in need of redevelopment. Since then, the council's taken no action. They followed up with another email on October 3rd.
Yeah, they made a mistake. They went to the wrong board.
Right, well, they shouldn't be in front of the redevelopment board anyways at this point.
Well, no,
Because
conceptually they should.
I mean, there's nothing to have a concept of, because we've never directed the planning board to undergo an area in need of redevelopment investigation. The redevelopment agency.
I looked into this, Councilman, so let me, and I did actually communicate with them ultimately as well. And I spoke to Andy Brewer, and I also kind of learned historically what has transpired here with the redevelopment agency, and the planner as well. And what I learned was that historically speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I learned and this is what I relayed to them, that they should have, that the redevelopment agency would hear what their justification was for requesting redevelopment. And that they would make that explanation to the redevelopment agency, who then would make a recommendation to us as to whether or not they think the area should be investigated for an area in need. Obviously, this body is the body that should make the determination. But, as you know, being a planner yourself, there's limited criteria upon which a designation could be based upon.
Correct.
And since the redevelopment agency has more experience in redevelopment issues than this council, it was explained to me, historically, they would end up hearing the initial request and then kind of filtering it in, as opposed to like a subcommittee.
Well, no, that's fine. I'm just trying to understand. So, because I guess it's a legal question, because under the local redevelopment and housing law, it's the planning board that undergoes the area in need of redevelopment.
That is correct.
So somehow they're in the redevelopment agency requesting that
To go to the planning board, that's the next.
Well, we are the ones who designate the planning board to undergo the investigation.
Correct.
And following that report by the planning board, typically through the planner, then we either agree, disagree, or make recommendations to the designation of that redevelopment area.
Right, so part of the reason they go to redevelopment board, they might tell them right out, you can't do this, and then it doesn't even come to us. It doesn't even.
Well, ultimately, they're gonna.
So we're using the redevelopment agency as a check before they even get to the point of we deciding to refer it to the.
And let me tell
Instead
you,
of having a redevelopment committee like many municipalities will, you end up making your overture to some sort of subcommittee to the governing body to request them to make a recommendation to the governing body with experience. We have an applicant that's interested in redevelopment. They're saying that the property should qualify under criteria E and G, and it seems like it's a reasonable request.
Then that's when we start to take action.
Exactly.
That
and
way.
let me just tell you, and I'm not saying anything out of turn because it was brought up in a public meeting, part of the concern with their problems is the designation of the space. So the redevelopment board has an issue with just the designation itself. There's some
When
problems.
you say a designation.
Because they have.
As to whether or not it qualifies.
That's the res-
Okay.
Because it has this is where he built those new buildings on. So
Right.
That
was my question, because
He wants to subdivide.
I have a hard time understanding how it would meet a blighted criteria when he made improvements
You are
on it pretty recently, but that's beside the point.
No, but that's what they're talking about. That's
Okay,
what the board.
I mean, I think that's the point. But I'll make one last point, because I appreciate
And
the
that should be the basis
clarification.
upon which they
Correct.
made their decision.
I appreciate the clarification on our process, because it's a little outside
It
the
is.
usual
It's-
municipal norm.
It is.
It is.
To that end, I think my personal opinion is, if the owner, the applicant, whatever, has so much interest in seeing this property designated as an area in need of redevelopment, and then subsequently we have to develop a redevelopment plan following that, then the owner should likewise also put the proper amount of money into escrow.
Unquestioned.
So the borough uses that money towards our planner and everything.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
been already told that he has to escrow money for this if we decide to do it.
Okay.
Part of the concern, again, it was public, so I'm saying this, he has a large lot that he wants to try to subdivide and say one side needs redevelopment, the other side doesn't. The redevelopment board kind of said, it's not gonna fly. I
No,
mean,
that
you
doesn't
can
work.
try to go through the planner, but I don't know if that's gonna work. So that's why he had to go back to his professionals. So that's why there is really nothing at this point.
Okay.
I have a question. Are you saying this is outside of the norm because most municipalities have a redevelopment committee at the council level first?
No.
Not necessarily.
We had to go to Trenton twice in
Well, we have a
order
board,
to
yes.
get approval.
I would say that most municipalities of this size don't have a redevelopment agency. Most larger cities, municipalities, maybe it's 50-50.
So we don't have they don't normally have a dedicated redevelopment agency.
The governing body could
Committee.
act as the redevelopment agency.
Right, we would be the committee at that.
Okay.
And the reason it was put in place, this is now over 10 years ago, is there's engineers, there's planners, there's people on that board who have a lot of knowledge in redevelopment, so they can ask the right questions. And look, we have the final say at the end of the day. It's always our final say, even if we're gonna push it to the
Well,
planning board.
once it's in a redevelopment zone, we don't have a final say anymore, isn't it?
No, we vote on the
But
project.
it's up to us to do that.
We do vote on the pilot, and the redevelopment agency has been voting on the redevelopment agreements. You vote on the redevelopment plan.
Yes.
So that's really probably the largest regulator as to what can take place in a redevelopment zone.
In that plan, it breaks down colors of brick, sizes, units, parking,
Setbacks,
setbacks,
heights.
all those things.
It's a zoning, basically.
Which,
Yeah, yeah. it's
so
full zone.
we hear that we have the final vote on
Uses.
this.
Yep.
Any other questions, concerns?
I just wanted to thank you for clarifying that, because I was confused as well. I'm glad you brought it up.
I didn't realize it went to everybody, otherwise I
Yeah.
would have spoke to it, because I communicated with the attorney, directly, and I kind of had to find out what the, well, you may know, we spoke. Yeah, I had to figure out historically what was done.
And we also got a copy, again, he shouldn't have copied us, was on the environmental concerns from
Right.
PSE&G.
Oh, that was, yeah.
He states, again, this is what the owner states, he has a clean bill of health from the DEP that says it's clean. He would have to present that when he goes to anything he's going to do. But that letter shouldn't have been sent to us yet, because he's the owner, he should have been dealing with it. He didn't know that letter was sent, so there's a lot of confusion with the project. Let's see where we go with it. We've seen many projects come and go, some work, some don't work. I've been doing this a while with these redevelopment. I can't tell you how many times the same project has come back in front of the board 6, 7, 8 times to change it. They're not even to the conceptual plan yet, so we got time, we got plenty of time.
I think you'll find a lot less units in that.
I would think so too.
Well, they haven't even justified the need for redevelopment.
Correct. And that might not even work.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay, motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Council President
Second.
Baldori, Councilwoman Kent. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
And we're not coming back out, correct? There's no official action.
Are you
taken
interested
afterwards?
in the flood board? Are you
That's
interested
why I have to
in?
go out to adjourn.
Well, you could.
We are recording right now.
I'm going to make a motion that we immediately adjourn after closed session, since there is no additional action to be taken this evening.
I second everything that Council President Baldwin.
So Council President Baldori, Councilman Dewan.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, we can
Roll call.
adjourn. You have to do a roll call?
All,
Or do affirmation one or the other.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.